Today's 49ers Report is presented by Vincero Collective. It's time for the offseason. And if you want to pick up a timepiece like I did with Vincero, we have a great deal for you. 20% off and free shipping if you head to vincerocollective.com/chat using the promo code chat. You want to get hooked up, look like a baller without having to spend like one? Vincero is where it's at. Mr. Black Ice with a $2 super chat to kick things off. Do you think with our cornerbacks, we should also draft one too? I'm kind of a proponent of drafting cornerbacks every single year to see which corners that you can hit on. You know, cornerbacks oftentimes can work out in the later rounds because it's hard to gauge and it's hard to evaluate how good or bad cornerbacks are in college football. It has to do with scheme. It has to do with coaching. It has to do with usage. Also the opponent. Look no further than a guy like Deommodore Lenoir. Fifth-round pick coming out of Oregon, and he worked his way into a spot where he was the starting cornerback for this team. Once Emmanuel Moseley went out, and I thought that he was really good toward the tail end of the season. Now, the Niners did draft Tariq Castro-Fields out of Penn State late in the 6th round last year. He didn't make the 53-man roster. He got scooped up by Washington. So, again, I think that's a part of the organizational philosophy for San Francisco to bring in corners through the draft, late, middle rounds, even early, to see which guys can pan out. I'd like to see the Niners bring back Emmanuel Moseley, though. True Allure, should the 49ers draft Cameron Latu? He's a tight end out of Alabama, really good player, and a lot of people have been asking particularly about the tight end position for the Niners. I think at some point you're going to have to look ahead into the future and understand that George Kittle is starting to get a little bit older, and you're going to have to find his replacement at some point. Now, Cameron Latu with Alabama, 30 catches this year, 377 yards, 4 touchdowns, average yards per pop, 12.5, 6'5", 244 out of Salt Lake City, Utah. He is a menace to bring down. He is a physical load, but there are only 2 tight ends who are currently signed for 2023. So that tells me either San Francisco is going to be looking for one in free agency. I think it's more wise to find one in the draft who at some point can take over for George Kittle. Lucius, triple third-round picks in a row is huge. I agree, and that's what I've said. The best players come from the later rounds. We are in a great position to improve for 2023. I'm not sure what exactly the data is, but almost and a large percentage of the players in the NFL are actually not first-round picks. A lot of them are undrafted who occupy 53-man rosters, and they're also drafted in the mid to late rounds. So while the Niners don't have a pick in the first round, nor they have a pick in the second round, they have back-to-back-to-back consecutive picks in the third round. And you can find plug-and-play starters at that point. So I agree with you here. Huge to have those picks at a premium spot in this draft. Logan, do you think the Niners can get Jessie Bates or CJ Gardner-Johnson in free agency? Great question. Because if Jimmy Ward leaves, you're going to need to bring in a safety. If DeSean Gibson retires, you're going to need to look at addressing safety. Talanoa Hufanga played great ball this year. He was an Associated Press All-Pro. Impressed a lot of people. Has to get better in pass coverage. He's great around the box as a blitzer and a guy who can play behind the line of scrimmage like Troy Polamalu, but he bit on a couple of fakes in that secondary. So that's something that he has to get better at. But DeSean Gibson might retire. Jimmy Ward might leave in free agency. And if that's the case, you have a big hole to fill at safety. Now, Jessie Bates is going to be expensive. CJ Gardner-Johnson is going to be expensive as well. If I could pick one, I think that Gardner-Johnson might demand a little bit less money. I'm talking by the smallest of margins. And I love his versatility because he can play deep, he can play slot, and he's an absolute dog with a lot of swagger. We're going to continue to answer your questions on the other side. First, though, 49ers Report is presented by Vincero Collective. 20% off, free shipping site-wide if you head to vincerocollective.com/chat. If you aren't familiar with Vincero yet, they are essentially a design house for modern men and women crafting really sleek watches, sunglasses, and more. I'm rocking one of their watches on today's show. I have several watches from them, and this one that I'm wearing, definitely my favorite. I get tons of compliments on it, and it's clear from the first impression how well made they are because they use really good materials. And based on the West Coast, GQ actually recently called Vincero their go-to brand for modern accessories, and it's easy to see why. For all the boss men and women out there, their watches are a must. They can elevate your look with the twist of a wrist. I love how they use great materials, and you need to check them out if you haven't yet. Right now, if you're looking for a perfect gift for yourself or someone else who you love, Valentine's Day just passed this week. 20% off, free shipping, site-wide by using the exclusive code CHAT. Support our show and check them out. It's VINCERO collective.com/chat with the promo code CHAT for that deal to apply. The Passmaster with the $2 super chat. Chase, just wanted to say thank you. Real one. Passmaster, I wanted to say thank you for being a real one and supporting all the content that I do. Cheers to you, my brother. Now, all the questions that are coming in, they're coming in from our loyal subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, do so right now. 49ers free agency, draft, rumors, news, analysis coverage all throughout the offseason. And when the season comes around, we'll still give you videos all the time and every day. Closing in on 80,000 subscribers. Appreciate all the support. Steve Cass, can the Niners pick up players for the trenches in the third round? I'm not sure if it's in the third round, fourth round, fifth round, sixth round, seventh round. They need to address offensive line. They need to address defensive line. They need a right tackle if McGlinchey leaves. They might want to look at an upgrade at right guard, even though I think Spencer Burford can be pretty solid and make that Aaron Banks type of leap from year one to year two. We'll see what happens with Jake Brendel. I think there are other better centers out there who would do a better job. But either way, got to improve the defensive line, have to improve the offensive line, especially after seeing how well Kansas City and Philadelphia played up front. Logan with another one. Do you feel that Danny Gray will elevate his game and become a wide receiver we can count on next year? Niners need it because a vertical element to this pass game would really help, and it would take some pressure off of Deebo Samuel. It would take some pressure off of Brandon Ayuk. Shoot, it would open up things further underneath for a guy like George Kittle and then Jawan Jennings, the third down magician. You get a vertical guy like that, basically the safety always have to worry about that guy as well as the corner. So that deep safety could be taken to his side of Danny Gray because they're a little bit concerned that he could burn them. Niner 63. If you're the general manager for a day, which starter do you re-sign? Azeez Al-Shaair, Emmanuel Moseley, Jimie Ward. Wow, good question. I'm letting Azeez Al-Shaair walk because I think that he's going to get paid too much for me to keep, and he could go to a team like the Houston Texans and cash in, which he deserves. Emmanuel Moseley was playing like a top-tier cornerback before that torn ACL. And then Jimie Ward, captain of this defense, former first-round pick, good job by him after being asked to go from safety to cornerback and playing really well there. I might go Emmanuel Moseley, even if he's coming off that torn ACL, but Jimie Ward is right there, and on some days I might change my mind. Let me say Emmanuel Moseley or Jimie Ward. With this offseason about to get ratcheted up, what are you looking forward to the most? Is it the NFL draft and our coverage covering these prospects? Is it free agency and all of the rumors that ensue as well as the signings? Let us know. D for draft, F for free agency. Thanks for tuning into our mailbag today.